The mountain gorilla population has increased from 600 when I first started working with them as a vet student in 1994, over 1,060, and this is almost doubling the population in 25 years. And we hope that this will not be reversed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Likely, we've had a number of new babies born during the COVID-19 pandemic, and we need to make sure that they remain healthy, and the coffee farmers and the reform poachers, so that they can really be engaged to grow good coffee, which we can then sell to consumers in Uganda and around the world who want to save gorillas one sip at a time.
Protect the mountain gorillas.
The gorilla on this coffee packet is Kanyoni. It's my favorite gorilla, and I operated with his older sister when he was a baby. He ended up heading the Mbare gorilla group, but unfortunately died in December 2017 when he fell off a tree and never recovered from the wounds, and another silverback tried to take over his group. He's the same Kanyoni in the background here in the cafe, and he was a gorilla that was very well known to people because he had grown up seeing people all his life, and he always used to interact with people, frighten them, and see their reaction. Our very first coffee brand has been named after Kanyoni, and we hope to name the second brand and others after other gorillas in the forest. And his legacy is continuing through Gorilla Conservation Coffee. Conservation Through Public Health is a grassroots NGO and non-profit that was founded in 2003 because we were concerned that people are making gorillas sick. While working as a first veterinarian for the Uganda Wildlife Authority, I led a team that investigated the first scabies skin disease outbreak in the then critically endangered mountain gorillas, which was traced to people living around the park who had very little health care. And the gorillas got the scabies when they went to people's gardens to eat their banana plants. And it quickly spread through the group because we're so closely related to each other. We have 3 integrated programs: gorilla health monitoring, community health, and alternative livelihoods. And we started the Alternative Livelihoods program because we found that many people are unhealthy because they're poor. And we're very pleased to be able to come across Moneyrow Beans. They became our first UK distributor.
Moneyrow Beans started when I moved back with my family back to live in Moneyrow Green in Hollyport. I wanted to continue with coffee. I'd been working for a coffee roastery out in Dubai, an amazing company called Raw, and really wanted to start something local here that could connect with coffee producers in other parts of the world. And during lockdown, I started delivering coffee to people's houses while they were stuck at home and couldn't get coffee at work. So yeah, and it grew from there really, and I became known as the coffee lady.
When they buy a bag of coffee, we're able to use that money to buy coffee from the farmers in the absence of tourism, which means that it's one less person who feels the need to enter the park to poach. And actually the poaching has had a devastating impact during this pandemic because one of the gorillas, the lead silverback or one of the gorilla groups, Rafiki, was killed by a desperate poacher. This disrupted Rafiki's family. The group split and reduced from 17 to 11 gorillas. And also the poacher was put in jail for 11 years. So 2 families were disrupted, the poacher's family, Rafiki's family, and the community was very upset and depressed.
COVID-19 has come in and has affected tourism in a really, really negative way. A lot of tourism entities in terms of safari companies and lodges are set up initially to cater for international tourists. International tourists will come into Uganda and will go out into the national parks and spend not only money viewing the animals, but also buying arts and crafts and being made aware of the situation on the ground. Without those international tourists coming in, it cuts off that revenue source for the people who live in and around the national parks, which means that they then are faced with the stark choice of having to go back into national parks to get resources like water, firewood, different types of plants and medicine. Whereas before, if they had revenue from the sale of their coffee beans or their arts and crafts, they're able to go and buy that with the money that they get. So it's as I said, it's really stark. Once you stop, COVID stopped the tourists coming in, which means that revenue stream is dead.
Before the pandemic, it was quite busy. People would come and buy coffee, a majority of our customers were the tourists coming to Uganda. Just before they go to the airport to head back home, they stop over and buy bags of coffee like this, and they have a cappuccino or a latte. But we had to close the cafe for a couple of months during the pandemic. And now that it's open, it's still not at all busy.
From a farmer's point of view, I think a lot of smaller farmers and specialty coffee farmers are facing a lot of challenges, both environmentally and also in getting a fair price for their coffee. And in order for farmers to continue producing their coffee, they need to be able to sell it at a price that supports their families, and that's becoming a story that's starting to be told more widely now, which I think is important. So I think wherever possible, it's good to find out about where a coffee comes from and make sure that the farmers are receiving a fair price for the coffee that they're producing. And it's sort of hearsay, but there's a lot of truth in it that some of the larger coffee buying corporations don't always necessarily have the capacity to see to the needs of individual smaller farmers. So I think specialty coffee has got a real challenge and opportunity to try and support those farmers, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm passionate about guerrilla conservation coffee.
So because we're helping farmers who border sub-counties around Bwindi, we're able to provide the people who buy the coffee, the conscious consumers, traceable, single origin, premium and specialty coffee, which is grown sustainably. Our very first coffee brand has been named after Kanyoni. It's 100% Arabica, earned as much as 92 points in Coffee Review. So we know that we have premium and specialty coffee.
The taste is really amazing. It's sort of buttery caramel taste, rich taste. And one of the things I really like that they're doing is they're constantly working on their quality and improving and working with the farmers and helping them, training them in how to get the best quality coffee.
I think there isn't a silver coin that's going to solve all problems. I think it starts with awareness. What I'm trying to do here is build more awareness to the links that international tourists have with people who live locally to the national parks. So awareness is key. You can help by sponsorship, finding a reputable company such as Guerrilla Conservation Company Coffee, and also Conservation Through Public Health, and go into their websites and find out how you can support only a little bit of money every month, how you can support them before you go on your safari, during and even after. And you can also act as a conduit for awareness. The second thing is you may have a particular skill set that could benefit the organisation. For example, you could be an artist or someone who weaves, or someone who has a contact to a coffee distribution company. So it's about thinking more widely than I'm just here to help one individual because I'm on safari. It's how can you continue to do that help?
Will defend his troop if threatened. Beating on my chest like a silverback.